Becoming who you're meant to be is never tidy.
It's the sacred in-between, where chaos meets clarity.
Where truth cracks open light and light brings you home.
Welcome to Journey to Radiance, where real stories,
Raw truths,
And brave transformation light the path forward. We're not here to give you a highlight reel.
We're here to talk about the parts of life that shape you.
the messy,
Magnificent middle,
Where reinvention
where reinvention
begins. Welcome to Journey to Radiance. I'm Melissa.
I'm Alana.
I'm Joe.
And we're so glad you're here. This episode, well, before we get into this episode, I want to talk a little bit about our process. Because I don't think people quite understand how dynamic and fluid and real that this process is. So one of the things we'll start with, like every episode has a grounding question. And from our collective process, we're bringing forward the questions and different options around questions. And really, we're talking about what's going on in your life right now. Mm-hmm. It's very immediate, very real time. We're not planning out an entire year's worth of episodes in advance. Like, it's literally 2 days before recording, and we're like, what's going on? What's going on with you? And we're talking through what's happening. And what's amazing is we pose questions, and the similarity on what we're going through, it always shines through. Yeah. And we always find a question that kind of makes us all feel something, and it all relates to what we're experiencing. And that's the question we bring forward. But just because we have a grounding question, we don't have scripts. We're not sitting there and processing scripts. I keep some very loose notes just to keep us on, par and making sure we have a flow to the episode. But I'm mentioning that because I think last episode you shared, oh yeah, I processed this like 38 minutes before recording. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted everyone to know whatever comes out of my mouth today was planned 3 minutes before we started recording. So, and that's because these topics have many layers to them, right? The questions have many layers. And you may even have one concept in your mind about what you're going to talk about and then come into this space and something else will come out. And it's like, oh no, that's what I have to talk about.
Yes.
So whatever preconceived notion I had walking into the studio today to talk about was washed out the minute Joe said something that triggered a thought. And I was like, oh, well, that's where we're going today. So it's 3 minutes old. Full disclaimer, it's going to be messy, but that's our thing, right? We do the messy and we're willing to do the work. And so I just wanted to share that for our tribe to really understand what our process is, because I don't know that everybody has that perspective, because it is very natural for us to talk through, and it has been very. So I don't know. Do you guys have anything you want to share about process?
Even the way we may take a question could be different. Like we could all even agree on the question.
Yeah.
But the perspective we take or the meaning from the wording behind the question could be completely different, which is why I love not planning so much.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. We interpret things so differently.
Yeah.
And one of us might interpret it in an emotional way. One of us might apply it to something happening right now, or one to something that happened 20 years ago. And yet the relevancy is always there,
It's always there, which is amazing. So that brings us to this episode, and the topic for this episode. So we're talking today about generosity, but generosity without self-abandonment. And really at the root of that, how to give freely without giving yourself away. And that can mean a lot of different things for each of us, right? And we talked about those nuances will come out. But our grounding question today is, how do we remain generous with our time, our energy, and even our gifts without abandoning ourselves in the process? And I really want to acknowledge, this was not only born from our own experience, but also in speaking with kind of members of our tribe. And I just want to acknowledge that many of our listeners are also recognizing and priding themselves on their own generosity, and also recognizing that takes many forms, right? You could be generous with your time, you could be generous with your finances, with your emotional support, with your advice. You can be generous in mentoring a colleague or someone who needs some personal or professional development in a professional sense. Also, your professional expertise. If you recognize that you have a special set of skills professionally, sometimes you find others that need those skills, and you may give more freely to those individuals based on your own discernment. Also, your physical being, like being available physically, showing up, going to things, and really, those are all really important decisions that we make in terms of the discernment piece of that. But there's also sometimes that generosity can become problematic, right? When it can turn into an obligation or a sense of resentment or even exhaustion because we're not filling our own bucket and we're constantly giving to others and we're not discerning how to balance that appropriately to conserve our energy and to conserve our mental well-being. And also it can turn into invisibility in the sense of what I need and what I want is completely diminished by my sense of service or my sense of giving to others, and really having kind of dangerous levels of generosity there. And so when I was processing this question, I really wanted it to come forward that I spend a lot of my energy and time being in a state of gratitude. That's supremely important to me, to be humble and to have gratitude for the big things, the little things, all the time. And this is probably the subject of generosity, and the boundaries around generosity are very complex for me and very challenging. And so because we're posing this question, I just want to make it perfectly clear from my own messy lens, I don't have this figured out. I'm not here to give anybody, we say that every episode. Yeah. We're not here to give anybody advice or to map out that we figured this out. No. It's really what I'm finding is these questions, these topics, it's part of the exploration. And what I find is I leave this studio with it's almost like you're tilling the garden with these conversations and these questions. And then there's the work that happens after. In between, right? The in-between. So I'm going to pause there because I want to encourage you guys to share thoughts on what I just talked about.
Yeah, I was reflecting on why do I overgive? Why do many high-achieving women and men overgive? And I think a big part of it was just our conditioning. We were almost conditioned to be helpful and then praised for being selfless, from a young age. I think as women, even as young girls, I think for me, I can say that I was always kind of taking the temperature of the room and making sure everyone else was good. And then I got an identity tied to being the strong one. So I was like, okay, because candidly, I texted you guys both last night too and was like, here's what I'm going through. And I think this might be a topic. And obviously it resonated. And for me, how does my generosity become self-abandonment? That was when does that happen? And I think one of the things that came up for me was discounting myself, right? Discounting my self-worth. And we can take it literally and figuratively, but discounting myself and not asking for help and trying to carry everything alone, which I know we kind of all have in common. So yeah, I'll pause there and then I'll circle back to maybe my specific situation. But
yeah, I think when we first talked about this question yesterday evening, and again, to be clear on how we process, that's a text thread. We are all in our own lives doing our own stuff, and we're texting one another literally less than 24 hours prior to being here. So one of the things, I actually kind of went in a different direction, and I think both of you being in your own businesses and owning your own businesses, that does put a slightly different spin on that, because you really have to evaluate probably more so the financial part of that question, right?
Yes.
I think that's definitely a heavy burden on both of you for that and being in those positions. But the first thought I had was, when my cup is filled, when I'm receiving not money, but warmth, people, the things that fill my proverbial cup, right? That's kind of where I went. And it made me think, it's the times when we sit here and, like you said, we walk away and it feels like a therapy session sometimes when we sit here.
Definitely.
And times I spend with friends, with family. And so I started to think about it from that lens, like what fills my cup and what am I doing maybe too much of for other people in an attempt to fill their cup, but does it drain my cup? Ooh. And so that's kind of, that's how I thought about it.
Yeah. No, I love that.
Wait, say that one part again. It was...
So where I focused was
your cup.
My cup being filled and what fills it. And are there places where I'm attempting to fill other people's cups and it's draining my cup?
Yeah.
Whether it's because they're not receiving what I give in the way I wanted them to, or they're just taking.
Yes. Okay, that relates to what I'm saying, but you're right. It's a totally different lens, which is why this is so cool. Because I love that you said the cup filling and you being a receiver and et cetera. So I was like thinking about this, and so I'm going to ask myself and our listeners another question. Do I believe I am worthy of being supported at the same level I support others? Do I believe I am worthy of being supported at the same level I support others? So I want to talk a little bit about money. I think one of the biggest misconceptions about money, especially for women, is that charging for our work is selfish. So I'm going through this specifically right now. But again, I think you can relate this whether you're a business owner or not. Because if you really zoom out, money is an energetic alignment, an energetic agreement moving between people. So when someone hires a coach, a therapist, a teacher, a mentor, they are investing in a transformation. They are investing in some sort of healing, some sort of clarity, some sort of growth. And the money is simply the thank you. It's the vehicle that allows that exchange to happen. So when someone says yes to investing in themselves, whether that's $100 or $100,000, that's them saying, you know what, I believe I'm worthy of this level of support. But where it gets interesting is if the person providing the service, in this scenario, it's me, and this is what I was working through last night. If the person providing the service then discounts themselves out of guilt, out of fear, out of wanting to be liked, then they've actually broken the energetic exchange. Because now one person is choosing themselves and the other person isn't. And to me, that's what self-abandonment looks like in, this is a business sense or not, right? Take what you will from it. But I thought about it as like, if you invest in yourself, that's you choosing your worth. And if I charge my worth, that's me choosing mine. So real abundance is when two people meet in that decision.
Yes.
So you're doing yourself and your client, friend, family a disservice if you don't hold your level of worth because there's imbalance. And I think that's what made me think of when you said the cup, like, where am I overgiving and under receiving? And I think that's what we're talking about here. And for me, I had to work through a specific client proposal where I didn't even know how to price myself because it was such a customized, unique situation. So I'm like, well, and here's where I went. Candidly, I was like, well, what if I was a white male coach? What would he charge? I mean, I just assumed, I'm speaking this out loud. I bet he would have charged double what I charged. Why do I think that? I don't know. Why do I think that? And so I was really just struggling and I was back and forth and I found myself last night, like, I couldn't sit down or rest until I figured it out. And then I decided to just sleep on it. And I was much more clear this morning and made the decision and pressed send. But yeah, that was a bit of my inner dialogue last night.
So, and you just, I thank you, just clicked on inner dialogue. So just to be clear in that dynamic, this is not an external conversation you're having with another party. This is your internal mental processing. And it sounds very much like you're challenging some limiting beliefs that you have around your worth and the value that you bring. It's even beyond worth, because it's how you're contributing the gifts that you have to the world.
Right. And am I undervaluing? But I was mostly thinking I'm overcharging. Like, for me, I go right to, I can't charge that much. But then the other voice, the Year of the Fire Horse voice, is saying, you said you want a big life, try it. Move.
Yeah.
Put it out there.
Yeah.
The worst they can say is no.
Do you have clear line of sight on the value that you bring in working with your clients?
Do I have clear?
Line of sight on value?
I don't know. I feel that I bring a shitload of value.
Yeah.
So, I'm confused.
I know you do. I know you do, because I am not even engaged with you in that way. And I know every conversation I have with you, you pour into me and you contribute in this relationship in huge ways, like magnifying ways.
Thanks.
And so I feel as though it's really getting clarity around the value that you bring, not what you should charge. Because I feel like, for whatever reason, this isn't unique to you. I've had issues with this as well when it comes to money, because money makes me feel funny about.
Yeah.
I feel funny talking about money.
Yeah. Scary.
And that is very much my own personal experience. That is very much a cultural condition. Like, I was conditioned as a woman. I wasn't educated about the value of money. I wasn't educated about, financial matters and like financial literacy and like that. I have a lot of limiting beliefs, and I've also been really, really poor in my life. And so I have a lot of fear. So I have limiting beliefs coupled with fear about not returning to places that I've been in the past.
Yeah.
And it's very restrictive in terms of how you see yourself in the world. And obviously, fear is always reductive. It's always takes you down to the most basic level of anything. So I just feel like, I don't know if it's you going through conversation with existing clients, you figuring out a way to track data that gives you some really objective perspective outside of how you feel about money.
Right.
Like, what are those anchoring like data points that allow you to really disconnect from the emotion of the exchange? And I feel as though it's also just like, to your point, like lobbing it out there. What's the worst that can happen? They're going to say no.
Yeah.
Or maybe they'll come back and say yes.
Right.
Or maybe they'll come back and say, that's over my budget.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and you're also not a commodity. I just want to really, really drive that home for anyone that's listening that provides a valuable service. You have gifts that are uniquely yours, that you were, in my belief system, those are God-given gifts.
Hell yeah.
They are fucking priceless. And for you to diminish them, I think beyond the energy, I think it also sends a message to God, the universe, or others that I don't really think these gifts are worth much. So I'm just gonna, I'm gonna discount those.
Yes.
Cut the 50. You get a 50% off sale today of my God-given talents that are uniquely crafted just for me. Like, who are we to make that? I'm not judging you.
Yes.
But I'm putting myself, I've been in that position. Who am I to question my God-given gifts and reduce them? Because I am priceless.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Not you. No, not you. You're welcome. I'm giving my gift to you.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
I am priceless.
We're exchanging energy. We're exchanging a service.
Yeah.
And that's just it. It's a service, right? I mean, it's different. But if I had a friend who was a hairdresser or a friend who had a landscaping business, I wouldn't say, hey, could you trim me up for free? How much you want to charge for that? No, they're going to charge what they charge.
You don't take the haircut and they're like, can I negotiate?
No,
Can you cut 30% off of my haircut price?
Right.
Right.
This
They're
isn't
like, the price is the price.
The price is the price.
And you have the option of choice.
Yeah. And it's not somebody just coming to you and saying, hey, Alana, can I just run this situation by you? Like a quick phone call from a friend. That's not it. This is
just your livelihood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This is my sole source of income.
Yeah.
I'm not like doing this for fun on the side. Like this is like my career and to your point, my purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I better stand on business. So that's why I sent it and just we'll see what happens and I'll let you guys know. But either
So,
way,
dear client, if you're listening, choose wisely.
Yeah.
we'll find you.
Choose wisely. Do not discredit the value that you've been given in that proposal. Because, yeah, I mean, like, if we really believe with intention, we're out there to do good in the world. We're out there to bring unique gifts to bless and benefit others, which I know that is the spirit that you lead with.
Definitely.
You should not ever question at all what your value, what the value you bring, or what you should charge.
And I think in the same vein, it's like whether you overextend yourself with friendships or family or business, if you don't start this properly, right, and set it off on the right foot, then you're going to be resentful because, or I at least am, like if I lowered my price so much and then they sign on, it's like, I'm not even excited about this engagement anymore.
Yeah. Because it's transactional.
It's transactional.
Yeah.
And I just lowered myself to meet you where you're at. So again, it's off balance.
Yeah.
So I find that if I don't honor myself, I'm resentful later, and then they're not going to even get the level of transformation that they deserve.
Yeah. It's a marketplace choice, right? Like I find in my own experience with my commercial construction business, there are like two ways that I could have approached the marketplace. Number one, I could go into a hard bid environment and it's truly a race to the bottom. The lowest cheapest price always wins. That's not my game. I am not ever going to be in that scarcity box in my life, right? So the other option was more private negotiated. And in my market positioning and brand positioning in a private negotiated environment, yes, you're going to get XYZ product, service, deliverable, but you're also getting the something more. And it's my job to make it crystal clear what that added value is.
Wow.
The and then some, which is unique to me. And a lot of that is really around social impact and mission alignment and really positioning like we do good in our community. Here's how we pour in and build others. If you care about those things too, you're my tribe. You're my people.
Yes.
You're who I'm supposed to do business with. If those things aren't important to you, Godspeed.
Right, that's fine, but I'm not the best partner.
I could probably refer you to someone who can provide great value for what you're looking for. But it's in really holding that space of like, I am unique, I am different, I'm a special flavor, not for everyone, and that's okay.
And that's okay.
Right? And that's okay. Because when you do align yourself with that right type of client or partner, it is effortless. The energy flows, and there's not ever a question on price because they recognize the value and they see it. You know, it maps to their values.
Right.
Right? And so they'd be rejecting themselves to say no to you, right? It's like...
Exactly.
It's a whole different
Exchange.
dynamic. And for me, it changed the whole vibrational level of how I interact because I can't be the cheapest one.
No, I don't want to be either, right? And I think we've said before, if you belong to everyone else, then you cannot belong to yourself.
Yeah.
So that I had to really like look inward. I was like looking for opinions and looking for research and what does so-and-so charge? And it's like, wait a minute, that doesn't matter. What am I doing?
Yeah.
What do I want to be known for?
Who am I and what do I bring uniquely in that positioning? And I think that's spot on important.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say in my own experience, I do have market data. I think it is important to know generally where the market is because you don't want to be like obscenely like, I'm charging you $1 million per session, right? Like, so some relative contextual benchmarking, I will call it, is helpful. If nothing else, because if you start to see some trends and some things, then it's not necessarily an indicator you need to change approach, but maybe you need to shift audience or it's important to have that, in my experience, that data and that perspective.
That's a good point. Shifting the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see where this lands. And if it's not, then I know for next time.
Absolutely. It's always, there's always lessons learned in data that will inform approach, and you just continue to kind of morph and kind of go with that. So I want to go back to your point about the cup filling and how do you because you're not a transactional person, how do you balance between the awareness of, oh, they're only taking, they're not contributing, and just being your authentic, giving, glorious self?
Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, to say we don't have it figured out, I don't know. And I do know that, transactionally, like gift giving, I love to put thought into gifts. Like, I also love to do that's fun. That would be fun to give somebody. You see something at the store and it's either funny or it's cute or it's sentimental.
Like a That's What She Said hat.
Perfect. Yes.
Like that.
Yeah. But I like to put thought into gifts, and I'm happy to also give a gift and just shove it aside. Like, I don't want the thanks or the, because I'm a very introverted person. Go back to that. So I don't need things in return in that sense. But I know I have felt like an ouch when I've done things for people and there is nothing.
Yes.
Like, whether it's a gift or something that clearly they didn't care. And then I'm like, well, maybe I chose the wrong gift, or maybe or not even a gift, but if I'm giving too much, like reaching out too frequently, or just giving too much and it's not reciprocated, it's like, okay, am I being too much?
Yeah, I can totally relate to what you're saying. In my own example, it was, a professional colleague that he does a lot of events that he hosts. I do a lot of events that I host. And it was the recognition, the aha, I guess. And time had lapsed and there had been some repeated observation. So it happened over time. It wasn't like a light switch moment, but it kind of was actually. But it was after time, a period of time of observing and observations being logged. And it was, oh, he's never come to anything that I've hosted. And I've gone to everything that he's hosted.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what it just redefined the relationship, right? And it was just looking at the reality of that, because support looks differently to different people. But that support was important to me. It wasn't about him writing me a check. It wasn't about him giving me a gift. It was the presence. His presence was my gift.
Showing up.
Yeah.
That's an ouch. That's definitely an ouch. I like that you use that term, and definitely the showing up.
Yeah. And so that gave me just broader perspective on the relationship and made me pay attention to other things. And then it was like, oh yeah, the date is there. So I think that's kind of the point from my experience. It's not that every situation you're like, oh, I gave you a gift. You gave me a gift. We're good.
Some people are like that.
There's that. But that's not you, which is my point, because you're very generous in spirit. And we don't want to lose generosity, right? So the point of this is, where are the kind of guardrails around self-preservation, avoiding self-abandonment, and where's the awareness need to be focused in order to preserve that, but not lose that? And for me, what I heard you say, and what I'm also relating to, is it's following the clues that you're given over time. It's like data point, data point, data point, data point. And then after a time, when those data points kind of converge together, you're like, oh, now I can see what that is. It's almost like a puzzle, right?
Yeah.
Puzzle piece, puzzle piece, puzzle piece. Oh, now I see I'm building a face. And so when those pieces come together, it's the reality. And then, okay, now that makes me look at the relationship differently with that awareness.
Yeah. And I think you feel it too, right? When you give, and you give time, you give gifts, you give your soul to somebody or something, there comes a point where you're like, this doesn't feel good to give. This feels like a burden or a transaction or a just, I don't want to. This is, I got to do this again.
Becomes draining.
And that's when you know. I think that's when you know, wait a minute, I'm not getting anything in return. And not to say you need something in return. Like you said, it's not a gift for a gift, or there are times in friendships, relationships where one should be carrying more than the other. That's natural. But when it's constant to the point where one person is drained, then we have to reevaluate and say, okay, I got to dial this back.
Yeah, that's one of the most important questions, I think, is I kind of learned that last year was, where am I overgiving and under receiving? Because we tend to not be well at receiving women. I don't know if I'm saying that right. We're not great at being receivers. And actually in Kabbalah, which I've talked a bit about, that's, what I'm studying, and we're actually all designed to be receivers. And an easy example is going out to lunch. I was just at lunch with a friend, past coworker, and I felt like paying for it. And I put my card down, and at first she was like, no. And I'm like, no, I want to do this. And then and I said, just say thank you. Thank you. I received that. You can get it next time. Yeah. But it's the ego that says, no. Let's split it. Let's at least, I'll do half, or let me get it. That's the ego. The soul, your essence, is saying, thank you. Thank you. I received that. And we have to practice that more, because that's also kind of touching a little bit more into our feminine energy versus masculine. And I know you've said before, like for specific meetings at work, some of us, we have to tap into that masculine. But where in life can we step back and be that childlike, just playful voices at home and just kind of at ease, because we have to mix it, or if men and women are too much in the masculine all the time, you're going to feel depleted. You may have, chronic stress or symptoms that come over. So for me, it's like, how can I give while also practicing being a receiver?
Yeah, that is a learned practice for sure. I will say just an alternate perspective, because if I'm in my giving is my love language. Like I love to treat people to lunch. And so what if both of you were coming to the table with the same energy, wanting to do the same thing? So sometimes it is ego, but I'm like, what if also she wanted to express generosity too? Like sometimes that could be a conflict. I'm not suggesting that for her necessarily, but like that's just another thought. Like sometimes it truly could just be a spirit of, well, I wanted to treat
Definitely.
you. I wanted to give, like, it's battle of generosity, which is kind of funny, right?
Yeah. And then to the flip of that though is, am I giving too much, that I'm making this person feel something because
so maybe
I'm
they're coming with the
overgiving?
sensitivity
Like,
of,
are they feeling love bombed because I'm giving?
Right. They don't want you to feel like you owe them something, or like,
but maybe they don't want to come across as though they're taking advantage of your generosity, right? Or they just want there to be equity in the relationship.
In the exchange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because while you love treating people to lunch,
you're depriving them of the ability to also treat you.
But
I received that. Thank you.
You solved it.
But in a true relationship, though, the lunch is maybe one give, but because maybe you have a friend or a family member who can't afford to buy lunch, and but their presence is your gift, right? Or their gift to you. Like, you want to go out and you do the lunch, and you're happy to pay for the lunch because that time with them is filling your cup.
Yeah,
and hopefully they're getting the same from it, and lunch.
Yeah.
But so I think it's a balance.
Yeah, that reminds me of this meme I saw of like two girlfriends at dinner, and one had like her full glass of wine and her full plate, and the other one had like eaten and drank, and it was like she talked, she listened. And it's just like, how was the engagement? How was the conversation? How was the dinner date? Whatever it is. Because you listening is a gift and has value.
Huge value.
So who cares if maybe that person felt like, oh my God, I just talked that whole entire time. I want to pay for it. Okay, I'm going to let you. It's a hard dance. I don't have it figured out, because that even made me uncomfortable saying it.
It is. It is
But
a
it's
dance.
a dance.
Yeah, I talk about my mall walking. There's some, like, I go consistently with one of my girlfriends, and I love you, girl. I know you listen. I love you, girl. But it's like we have give and take, right? Like, there's some days that she comes with heaviness, and she just needs to be heard, and I'll hold that space with her. And sometimes it's flipped, but it's really having the self-awareness, having the emotional intelligence of the person you're with. What is the need? And being able to follow kind of the nudging there in terms of providing the balance and the equity in that relationship. I think that is true generosity. It's showing up with what spirit is needed in the space, and then being willing to offer up what is needed in that space.
Yes.
So it's a spirit of service for me that's supremely important. And I'll take it a step further. Like my other favorite thing to do is demonstrate value in relationships, even with people I just meet. So if I just meet someone at a networking event and I'm taking their business card, it's, what's your ideal client? What is you're looking for a job? What is your ideal job?
Wow.
And then it's keeping the awareness on that person in my day-to-day life. And the goal is I want to map them to whatever their goals are and be able to demonstrate, number one, I heard you in the exchange. I want to bring value to show you that I am investing in the relationship, and we'll see where that leads down the road. I may have an ask of you at some point, right? But it's to lead with a service mindset and be able to let that, like, I have deep relationships with people that are quickly earned because of the respect of that practice. And people have told me, like, I've never had that experience before. Like,
I bet.
I've never seen, so I literally had a call this week. I met this young man who's doing this amazing work in our community. And he was setting the meeting to meet me, to like glean some lessons from my life. I spent the entire meeting asking him questions to pull out from him what he's working on, what he cares about. And I've already connected him with 2 people that are going to help impact his mission.
Wow.
Like, he didn't need to hear about, he can listen to this podcast, he can read this about me. He needed to have access to opportunity.
Wow.
And that's what I wanted to show up with. And service to that mission is I'm here to provide that. So all that being said, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
That's a lot of investment that I'm front loading in relationships that I may not ever see return from. But I'm here to tell you, when I make that investment, I always see return. That's that abundant mindset.
Yeah.
When I give to the world in that way, what comes back to me is 100 times that.
Yeah.
And I have total confidence that putting that out, absolutely pays in dividends in bringing it back.
Yeah, and I think even if you can't give that kind of networking that you can, how good does it feel when you meet someone and then you see them again, or they remember something about you? Like, it just feels so good. It feels like they're a friend instantly. They're not just somebody you ran into. They are an immediate friend, and that's the relationship building that you're speaking to. And it can be on so many different levels.
Yeah. Asking them a question about themselves shows you care and you were listening.
And so the converse of that is I am immediately turned off by the people that come to every situation with what's in it for me.
Asking you.
And you can know
let's
that.
talk about that.
You can know that within 5 minutes of a conversation with someone, that they're not listening, they're not invested, they're coming at you, they're talking more than they're listening. Like, it's very clear.
Yeah, they have an agenda. And
And I'm not talking about passion, because sometimes you do meet people that get overcome with their passion about what they really care about. That's not the same thing I'm talking about. It's like, so I'll give you an example. I had an opportunity where I was bringing a business opportunity to an existing relationship to suggest a partnership. And in that conversation with the person, very quickly, the first words out of his mouth were to diminish me, to say, well, we're really good at doing that. I don't understand why you would be needed in that dynamic.
bleh, want to throw up.
And I just...
Did you do that in the meeting?
I said, tell me more. And he just kept digging his hole, like over time.
Ew.
Yeah. And I just said, well, it's a good thing that your perspective doesn't define me. Mm-hmm. And I also came to this conversation with the generosity of opportunity that I now recognize is not aligned. And so thank you. I appreciate your time. Mm-hmm. Wow. He followed up with an email asking about the opportunity.
Oh, my God.
Like, so my whole point is like, no, not only did he do those things, he had no self-awareness on how he showed up, how it made me feel, mm-hmm. and that opportunity that ship has sailed.
Yeah. Hi, Oblivion. Nice to meet you.
Wow.
Like, what the heck?
So it's like instantly knowing. So the discernment for me in that experience was like, oh, this isn't who I'm meant to break bread with. I can very quickly now discern who has an abundant approach in life. Like if I'm coming in with an opportunity, they're like, yeah, and I have these other relationships. I want to introduce you to because this is going to be cool. Like that kind of vibe, when you get it, it's like abundance, 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 abundance. It magnifies. And then when you bring that abundant energy and someone comes with like that blunt force of like diminishment.
Yeah. And I'm seeing it like zooming out from the human level of that story. I'm seeing like as if I could see energy moving, which we can't from the human eye, but I'm seeing obviously he has a lot of fear and scarcity mindset about something, or just thinks he's amazing. But I could see over long term profit going down because of that. And for you, it going up. And again, it doesn't have to be profit, but like things working out in life.
Yeah.
I mean, it just...
opportunities,
yeah,
right? Like
just get what you put out. Yeah.
Being open to non-traditional thoughts. Like maybe I can do this differently. Maybe I can pursue a new thing and not be restricted in my perspective of roles, because if you don't have the exploration and the conversation, you can't come with that, like, I know the answer.
Right.
You don't know the answer.
Right.
You have a perspective, but there's more data points that you haven't even asked a question to learn about. Like, it's just, it's absurd to me, but it's also really helpful.
Yes.
As a filter.
Yeah.
God's
I feel
filter
like
is
most
perfect.
people are like that. Like, I guess, I don't know, like, in your guys' day-to-day, do you come across more people that are not open to new perspectives or asking questions out of curiosity, or it's gotten better, or...
That's a great question.
Because I don't, obviously, I'm not around those...
I think it depends on I will tell you, in my industry, it's a lot more of the fear-based, this is the way it's always been done, which has been like ripe with opportunity for me, because I'm like, great, I love to be a disruptor. Let's make this happen. Like, I think that's how I got that like trailblazing kind of, energy that you guys all identified with me. But it's not so much about trailblazing. It's just being open. I'm just really open. I have no idea what the future holds. I'm really here to learn, here to grow, here to adapt. I'll try some things within like risk, a good, fair risk tolerance. I'll try it once.
Yeah.
I'll try to control my risk around that one time to test out the model or test out the theory. But I'll just rinse, repeat, and reiterate and iterate, not reiterate. I will iterate on improvements. Whereas other people, no, we've never done that. So I just really want to do that. Okay, well, good luck with that. Because those people are also not aware of dying trends. They're not aware of obsolescence. They're not aware of diminishing, returns. Like they have no awareness of that because they're banking on it's just going to maintain as it always has. So how are you prepared for adaptations in the marketplace? How are you prepared for crisis? How are you prepared? If you're not always willing to pivot and be fluid and think differently, gosh, that's awful. That's like a fate worse than prison.
Yeah.
That is a prison.
That is a prison.
It's a glass ceiling.
It is a prison
for yourself.
Yep.
But I will say, I think what it draws me to development, particularly social impact of real estate development, is I'm surrounded by innovators, people that want to have positive impact in their communities and that are there to solve really hard problems that other people aren't willing to solve. And so I think I found my people. I'm like, oh, you like crazy problems too. And like, you're willing to, keep chasing down opportunity or making it happen where it doesn't exist. And it's like, who's like ripping apart the concrete to like put the wildflowers in?
Yeah.
Those are the people that I am really attracted to. So it's interesting because I'm bringing that renegade, like trailblazing to an old kind of old mindset. And I'm re-energized by, thankfully, this other side of the business.
Yeah.
So when I feel diminished, like, because your battery does drain when you're not pouring that new spirit into yourself. And so I definitely I'm doing equal parts of like making sure I'm having enough exposure to that positive part. So I really would love to know your one thing, because we've talked a lot about generosity, open mindset, growth mindset, and just, I think, the openness to test out some things, get some data, refine. But just really wanted to think about, what was your one thing from this conversation?
I think it's like the two things can be true, that I can give and receive, and I can be generous yet powerful. And I can know my worth with also knowing the client's worth, and do that dance more. I can do it more intentional. I just want to be more intentional than transactional, of course. So two things can be true. I can give and I can receive.
I think for me, it's my good intentions have a lot of value. And recognizing that that is a very unique value proposition when you're engaging with other humans.
Yeah.
And trusting that and following where that may lead you. And really, I think that over the time, I've recognized it's very much intertwined with my spirit. And that's the nudging that I feel is if I keep focused on my good intention, my intention to bring positive, abundant love, if I trust that, then I'm very quickly able to discern who seeks to diminish it and how to put guardrails around that and protect myself from that.
Trusting that it will lead you to the right place.
Yeah, and it's not a perfect practice. Like today, I had a really shitty experience where I've poured into someone, invested in someone, and I feel sad. I feel sad for that person because they didn't even recognize the gift that was given them. And they have a lot of cocoons to work through.
Yeah.
But my job wasn't to get her to get it. My job was to give her the gift and give her the choice of opportunity. What she does with it is her job.
Yep. Detach from the outcome.
Yeah. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, I think on the similar line of when you give, you've done your part, right? And while it's not transactional, especially when we're giving up time or our presence or our energy, it's not transactional. But once you have given, what people do with it, that's up to them. You've given. And I think recognizing when someone is draining you and not filling your cup in any way, you have to, for yourself, say, I need a time out from this.
Yes.
And I'm not to abandon anybody, a friend in need. I never want to do that. But put your oxygen mask on first, right? Before anyone else. So you've got to make sure you've got some energy and some juice in your battery so that you can be for other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honor yourself first.
And I also would say, I think that there's also lessons there for that person to maybe get a lesson they wouldn't otherwise experience. Because if you're always showing up with that generosity, they're not having to do their own work. And so sometimes that is also the blessing to them, is to let them recognize they have some work to do and like there's a consequence for their behavior and they have the choice.
Yeah.
It's a great point.
Yeah. But will we all put this in practice and have it all figured out by this time next week?
Let's practice being a receiver. How about we try to receive one thing?
Yeah.
Between now and next week. We can do that.
We can do that.
Be a receiver.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
Be a receiver.
Be
I
a
like
receiver.
that. And make sure our vessels are open. Open vessel. Well, we hope that this episode today resonated with you. Again, we're processing real-time things that we're experiencing, and we'd love to hear from you, our tribe. If there's things that you're processing and experiencing. Now that you know, 48 hours or less for planning episodes, you've got plenty of time. Plenty of time to share what's percolating in your life, and chances are, if it's going on with you, it's going on with a lot of other people, and so there's courageousness in facing that messy together. And so we hope that you share this episode with others that may benefit from that, and also share your experiences with us so that we can elevate the message and explore the things that we all need to process together. So we look forward to seeing you again soon.